Hello, ladies and gents. We are talking The Suicide Squad. I am Ravi, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Arjuna, and Mr. Michael is in his producer's chair. Let's get one thing out of the way. I loved the first Suicide Squad. No, I'm just kidding. I hated the first Suicide Squad. It was utter dog shit. If dog shit and piss had a baby, it would be the first Suicide Squad. I just wanted to make that known to the world.
So you liked the first Suicide Squad?
No, I didn't. Well, I'm conflicted with it.
What?
So
what is there to be conflicted about with the first Suicide Squad?
If the only thing that existed in the world was, Suicide Squad, the 2016 version, and there was nothing else to compare it to, it would be okay.
That doesn't make
But because there are
You can
other...
make an argument about anything.
I know.
Yeah.
There's one good thing that came out of the Suicide Squad first movie. That
Will
cool
Smith.
shot of Will Smith as Deadshot on top of the car, slow-mo with his guns, and that was it. That's that's literally the only thing I remember about
No. The only good thing, much like Venom, that came out of that movie is the song Heathens.
Yeah, by 21 Pilots.
That's the only thing.
You could actually argue that because of Suicide Squad, the first one, that's kind of what really made 21 Pilots kind of known, like more mainstream, more well-known, because that song was there. They did the official music video. There was a whole shebang.
It really is the only good part of that.
It's actually also how our mother found 21 Pilots.
Wait, our mom listens to the 21 Pilots?
She does on occasion, yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
I mean, the mom listens to like Prodigy and
it's
all that other weird stuff.
She's listening to 7 decades of music at this point. So.
Wow, they haven't they?
Probably
because
they probably listened to some 50s. They were live in the 60s and then all the way to present. Yeah.
What the hell are the 50s? Elvis? No, he's 60s. No, isn't that the Beatles? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
I wasn't alive.
Well,
are you
you're
sure?
An old man, though, so I expect you to know.
Hold on. Are you sure?
Trent Crimm,
The Independent.
Oh, it's Independent. You're right. Fuck.
How do you not? Anyway, we're talking the Suicide Squad, a James Gunn movie based entirely on Guardians of the. I'm kidding. No, it's not based on Guardians of the Galaxy. But I did ask you all this after we saw the movie.
Oh,
do you think, if in some fucked up variant alternate timeline, if Disney was like, do whatever you want, James Gunn, do you think he would have made Guardians as violent as what we saw in the Suicide Squad?
I think so.
I think the answer is yes, because every James Gunn movie outside of Guardians, I believe, and I haven't seen every James Gunn movie, is extremely violent.
Also,
by like his volume, his body of work, you would assume yes. I could be wrong.
But also, I feel like James Gunn is more of a comic purist than people give him credit for, just in terms of he likes to
that's fair.
Lean into the weird and bizarre. And I think for both Guardians and the Suicide Squad, he leaned into comic runs that were pretty accurate to what you got on screen. The Guardians comics are never super violent. Marvel comics in general just aren't as violent as.
Have you read a Punisher comic?
Yeah, but I said in general, right? The Guardians comics don't have people's faces getting caved in by bullets.
Are we sure?
No, we're not.
Because I actually haven't read them. So
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't read every single Guardians comic, but I think from what I have read and what I have seen, I haven't encountered a lot of that.
You know what? I'm going to spend the next 6 days learning how to draw and do digital drawings basically make you a violent Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
I mean, you could say Groot being blown to pieces is graphic, Yeah. All of his limbs just out there like that.
He's a tree.
Splinters.
Yeah, that's
All
dark,
splints.
man. That's dark.
I don't know how trees work. How do trees work?
If we go by Lord of the Rings,
carbon, and then they breathe out.
They
oxygen.
are old and slow, and they talk like this.
Oh, hello, Frodo. Oh, no, Tree Bear never met Frodo.
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. Anyway, one-word impression, guys, to kind of recap your movie-watching going experience or the movie, The Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
Squad.
The Sesame Squad.
Ooh,
The Soy Sauce Squad.
Ooh, making me hungry.
Now I want sushi. The Sushi Squad.
Or Chinese food.
So one word impression. Who's got theirs first?
I have one.
I have one too, but I want to go first.
Wow.
Because I don't want it to be ruined by you all.
Oh, you're going first?
Yes.
Oh,
so you can't ruin it.
Sure, go
All right,
ahead.
here we go. Rat.
I don't get it.
Rat.
I'm just kidding.
As we all know, this movie has the Rat Catcher 2, daughter
New York.
of Ratcatcher, whose ability is to be able to control rats with a magical wand thing. I'm assuming the Ratcatcher is based on, is it Pied Piper? The flute person who had the flute that controlled the rats?
Maybe. I think Ratcatcher actually might be an original character that was made for the movie.
Oh, shit.
But there's probably inspiration. Ratcatcher 1 played by Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. Who ODs on drugs.
Heroin. I think.
This seems ominous for it.
Wow, you can't say that.
What do you know?
Come on.
What celebrity gossip do you have?
No. It's just like because he's in some of the tabloids. And he's been partying a lot, and
Aren't we all partying
out
too
with
much?
a bunch of people.
he's been doing some stuff.
But yeah, Ratcatcher, is the emotional center of the film as well. I didn't pick up on that from the teleprompter here, or the fact that all of the press junkets, that's what every other character said about Ratcatcher. But and also, I say the word rat because Ratcatcher has a very good CGI rat.
Wow.
It's very good CGI. I applaud them on doing a really good job. A very cute CGI rat that is part of the comedy of that character, part of the comedy in general. Sebastian, some really fun parts where you've got the freedom fighters, and the new Suicide Squad comes in, murders a bunch of them accidentally. And then the leader of the Freedom Fighters is that rat waving at me to kind of like break the tension. And the rat does a really good job of like breaking the tension, which is great. And then obviously Idris Elba's character, Bloodsport, becomes friends with the rat at the very end. So
I don't know if he's friends. He lets the rat sit on his lap, and he almost uncomfortably, fearfully.
I'll say this: nobody in their right mind would let a rat on them unless the rat was a friend, because rats are pretty disgusting creatures. So you would have to be at the friend level, I would think.
They carry
People say that
plagues.
about babies too.
Nobody has.
That they're disgusting creatures.
Well, they are definitely disgusting.
There we go. I found one.
Oh, is that what you said?
All they do is pee and poop. And
is that what you
up.
said about Arjuna when he was born, Krishna? Disgusting
I don't
creature.
remember. Could I talk when he was born? Yeah, I could talk. I was like, wait, how old am I? What's the age difference?
Krishna couldn't talk until he was 14.
And even then.
He just quoted Deadpool quotes.
At 14? Holy shit.
Could you imagine? I mean, that feels like that would make sense. Krishna, your one-word impression.
My one-word impression is gun. Yeah, you can spell it either way, too. First, there were a lot of guns in this movie. And it was directed by James Gunn. So, I mean, honestly, it's Gunn mostly for the director. He has very, distinct style. And that came through, obviously, in the Guardians movies. It's fast, witty, very stylish. And it's you can almost put on a movie, and I would be confident in being like, if it was a movie that I didn't know anything about, and if it was done, I'd be like, this is a James Gunn movie based on shots and different elements and things like that. And James Gunn is clearly the big difference between the first Guardians and the second Guardians movie, right? Sure, there's a bunch of different actors. I'm sure the DP and all that stuff is different, but the director is what. It's the clear difference between.
Did you say
those
Guardians?
Two movies. I meant for Suicide Squad.
I was like, James Gunn directed both Guardians.
Yeah. There's a clear difference between Guardians and Suicide Squad. Is that James Gunn was a very different director.
Yeah, he now has white hair.
Yeah.
Apparently.
But and then obviously, and the other reason I would use Gunn as well is that I really liked Bloodsport as a hero/villain. Anti-hero, yeah.
Hey, there was good in him. Rat said so.
That was definitely good in him.
Sebastian. His name was Sebastian.
Oh yeah, but
his suit was really.
His suit was cool. His guns.
Wait, are we talking about Rat or?
No, Bloodsport and his gun.
Yeah, Bloodsport had,
and then also
really
his standoff with John Cena's character and
Peacemaker,
and the fact that their guns. Shot bullets that one went through the other one. That was cool.
Because he had a smaller bullet.
It was cool.
Well, it's funny because they had the inverse of the conversation earlier, where Bloodsport has the bigger ones, and Peacemaker's like, "Oh, I have the smaller bullets," but then the smaller bullet of Bloodsport wins.
Yeah, By the way, I just want to say John Cena, I thought was really good. He might have been my favorite part of the movie because I was like just surprised at like how much I enjoyed his performance in that character.
Was your
It
favorite
was
line
so
his one about
ridiculous.
dicks being in the field?
Oh man.
If there were a bunch of dicks on that beach, I would
I
eat
would do
every
it.
dick.
I would do it for my country. Like, oh, it was just so. He played it so
I'll
well.
kill men, women, and children for
Yeah, it's
patriot,
like John Cena was
freedom.
such a great choice for that.
peace.
And to me, it was like left field. I didn't know. You know, I haven't seen the other one, the Blockers movie that he was
Blockers.
in. And I don't know what else he's been in, but you know, so
He
I
was in
was
the
pleasantly
WWE.
surprised.
He was in the WWE.
He was a good
He's
actor.
known
in that
as a
one.
wrestler.
Yeah, exactly. So
You-
I don't immediately
You know what?
apply.
I'm curious with like
you know,
John Cena. So he
comedic
does a
timing.
lot of Make a Wish wishes. You know, the foundation that obviously works with you know kids with cancer. I'm curious to see if like. I'm curious and also a little horrified if they're going to be like kids in the Make-A-Wish program. They're like, yeah, I want to see John Cena as the Patriots. Because then it's like these
Peacemaker.
As Peacemaker.
Yeah.
It's like these kids that clearly have seen this movie.
Yeah, which you know they probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Kind of rated R, I think.
Yeah. It is rated R, yeah.
But
No, it's only kind of rated R.
yeah, kind of
It's
rated
a
R.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Rated
I mean,
R?
it was very
Question
colorful, and there's a cute villain. You know, the big starfish.
I want someone to superimpose Patrick Star as the.
Yes.
Somebody
The big
needs to
star.
like replace.
That'd be-
That would be awesome.
That'd be
Oh man.
Did
that
anyone
was
remember the villain's name? The star.
Starro the Conqueror?
Yeah. So actually,
Starro?
real quick, Sauron. I want to say Sauron.
Sauron
Sauron the Conqueror, but it's what is it?
Starro.
Sorrow.
Starro.
Starro. So you all remember Batman Beyond, right?
Correct.
So in Batman Beyond, there is an arc where Superman and Justice League Unlimited. So Superman comes to Bruce Wayne and Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, and is like, "Hey, there's somebody trying to like take out the Justice League." Turns out it was Superman taking out the Justice League, and he had Batman investigate. And that's because this stupid little starfish thing had attached itself to Superman and taken over, and also had a bunch of like its little babies. And was ready to take over a whole bunch of people.
Good old Patrick Star.
Nice.
Just wanted to take over people.
Good old Starro.
I wonder if James Gunn watched that Batman Beyond episode.
100%.
You could make the argument the Thinker is the real baddie.
Peter
Peter
Capaldi's
Capaldi's
character.
Because he kind of tortures Starro for 30 years and makes him.
But
This murderous
like we
thing.
learned in the movie though, maybe the real villain is America.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Because it was American scientists that brought the thing back to Earth.
The American government that
Yeah.
basically paid the Thinker to do the experiments.
There are a few villains. You know,
Amanda Waller.
Peacemaker.
Venom.
Yeah.
Venom
Yeah.
is in a different universe, but okay.
The warlord that Harley Quinn shoots. You know,
Blue
I was like, oh man, he's a villain, and all of a sudden he dies halfway through. The
Yeah,
movie.
that
I
was
was like,
hilarious.
oh, okay.
I swore to myself that if a man had red
So
flags, I would
Shoot.
I would kill him.
I would just kill him. Oh, it's so good.
right
do
to
the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
She's like, you're gonna hurt kids,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is great. I mean, you knew exactly how that shot was set up. You know, he had his back turned for a while. They kept the camera on him. You knew that he was gonna get shot immediately as he turned around.
I still jumped in the theater
Yeah,
when it
I-
happened.
I did this. I was like, I'm ready.
Cover my eyes, cover my ears. Can't see or hear anything.
Exactly.
Junior, your one word impression.
My one-word impression for the Suicide Squad is bird.
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 Big Bird.
Bird.
Why bird?
So
Wait, bird
they-
or bird?
bird? So
Like I want my bird?
bird.
Bird.
So there's a shot in the there's a line in the movie that's also in the trailer from King Shark where he's on the comms and he says they're like I forget King Shark's name, it begins with an N, but you know King Shark, we'll refer to him as here. It's like, what do you see? And he's like, bird. There's also a lot of bird death in this movie. The opening shot, Savant
With,
uses a ball to
yep.
kill a bird.
Oh yeah.
The general who takes over for the dictator burns a bunch of birds.
of the former.
When Michael Rooker's Savant dies at the beginning, a bird comes and gnaws at his corpse. And then King Shark says bird.
Bird.
Is bird supposed to like represent something?
Maybe freedom.
Maybe James Gunn wants to fly away?
Maybe James Gunn hates birds.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say that he hate. Well, I guess he killed more birds than birds got their day or whatever that thing is.
Birds represent freedom.
Yeah.
And the Suicide Squad is not a free group.
It's true.
They are all prisoners.
And birds and rats are natural, predator and prey. So, and rat is obviously a big theme within the movie. The Suicide Squad themselves are considered rats.
I have a
Maybe.
question.
It was a response to Birds of Prey.
Ooh.
That's a joke. That's no way. That doesn't make any sense, actually. But anyways.
My question is, they all were criminals. What was Peacemaker's crime?
Oh,
So they never explained that.
Yeah.
Right. I almost the way I interpreted it was because he is there for Amanda Waller. He was planted to kind of make sure that they did the mission and they got rid of the evidence. Also, when they're doing the intros for each character and she goes to Peacemaker and verbatim says the exact same thing she said for Bloodsport was like just great delivery by Viola Davis to not have the same intonation and everything, and then Idris just being like, "What the fuck? What the fuck? He's me."
Yeah.
Especially the line before she's like, "Every person on this team brings something unique."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's taking
They
the
do the
piss.
same thing. Oh, man. So good.
Yeah.
Before we get into our Junior's DVD chapter listing, one question I have for you guys. This movie, I think, did a really good job of throwing up titles, but incorporating it into the environment as opposed to the Marvel way of just right in the center of the screen with a sound pop.
Yeah.
Be like, Moscow, that's where we are now, and Berlin, and blah, blah, blah.
Captain America,
And
Winter
then
Soldier. Yeah.
we also did a lot of time jumping in terms of 8 minutes earlier or 3 days earlier or now present.
Yep.
Did you guys find that to be at all distracting, or do you think it kind of worked with the flow of the general movie?
I feel like it worked for the most part. It definitely took you out of certain scenes. I think when they're in Jotunheim, right, the big laboratory, and you're kind of wondering what's going on here, and then you go 8 minutes earlier, you're like, does that really work? You're kind of wondering in the scene, oh, why did the explosion go off? What's happening with our other team? I don't know. I would be interested to see it cut back and forth.
Yeah, like traditional.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how that works. I'm not sure if that scene exactly works. I think at the beginning of the movie when you have the first squad murdered and then you have the second squad come and you explain it and do the more traditional origin, that part works. But that last part, it's a little shaky.
Definitely the last one. That was the point I wanted to make, was especially that last scene, or Peacemaker's final moments when he's got the gun to Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
Definitely takes it away, and then Idris Elba's comical kind of landing.
Yeah.
Right. Boom, 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 boom.
It almost felt like they had to justify how does he get there in those 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It didn't feel smooth.
I didn't mind it. I totally get what you're saying. I thought it sort of added to the fun of the movie.
Yeah.
It's just So, but yeah, I think it's like a personal. Seems like a
preference.
personal preference, and
But-
Well, aren't movies all made for my preference and nobody else's?
I mean, yes, you are the Omega point.
Hi, I'm Omega.
I'm
Omega.
Anyway, let's get into our June's DVD chapter listing. Arjuna likes to do this thing where he likes to look at old technology known as DVDs that had chapter listings, and he goes through and he hypothetically makes a list that never really sees the light of day.
I have a quick question for Arjuna
Sure.
before we jump into this. Arjuna, what DVD chapter listing do you draw on? What is the best DVD chapter listing you've ever seen?
Yeah, what are you trying to emulate?
Is it Wild Wild West? Because they have a great one.
Well, they do.
Yeah,
They
so
do.
as both of you know, I believe some of the very first DVDs we got were Wild Wild West, Independence Day,
Yep.
and The Mummy.
Yes.
So those are the three I like, and I think Stargate was another early one we got too
Yes,
for
it
DVD.
was.
So those are the 3-4 that I really kind of picture in terms of a DVD chapter.
Oh man, I remember when we got the Toshiba. I think it was Toshiba
Toshiba
DVD.
DVD player, yeah.
Yeah, but you have to fill out a card and then send off for it, and they
Yeah.
mail it back. Man, the world was so weird back then. What the fuck?
It was a strange place.
Remember when Netflix
It was
did
also a
DVDs
beautiful
to start?
place.
Yeah, I mean that was college.
Yeah.
And in college, because you were poor and you wanted DVDs, you would lose the DVD a lot
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man, what a time.
Yeah, or you ripped the DVDs. That's before they had proper copyright stuff. And everything.
LimeWire.
But I remember specifically one of those movies, like, had the wrong chapter. Like, the DVD chapter listing in the box didn't match with the chapter on the DVD menu. And it really bothered me, but I can't remember which movie it was.
What lies beneath?
I think it was either Independence Day or Wild Wild West. It was one of those two that, like, there was
I think it was Independence Day.
that had one of them. I was like, wow, this really grinds my gears.
You know why? Because what we had the director's edition and the theatrical cut. So I wonder if the DVD listing maybe
was only
off
theatrical.
and,
Yeah.
Because we only ever watched the director's cut.
Yeah, because we're film nerds.
Because
Yeah.
we're like, we want the longer
Awesome.
one.
Yeah,
We
more
want
alien.
more alien scum.
That's right. Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, it's like if you ask someone, like, what's the difference between the theatrical cut of Lord of the Rings and the extended cut? So many people watch, like, the extended cut. Or any version of the original trilogy of Star Wars. Who knows what the truth is anymore?
Yeah.
Han didn't shoot first.
Han shot first.
Anyway, so Arjuna has a DVD chapter listing, and as always, Christian's going to read this, and we always have Christian do it in a fun accent because it makes him annoyed and squirmy.
Oh, wait, can I choose the one this time?
No, he's going to be Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
I thought he should be Groot. Because James Gunn.
No, Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
So basically, you're going to be really patriotic, really, like, stand for what you believe in, really be proud
I'm proud to be
of
an
yourself,
American.
you know, as a person, as a boy in this country.
All right.
See what I did there?
No.
Okay, good.
All right. Arjuna's DVD chapter listing as Peacemaker. Ooh. Bebo just liked my tweet. All right, here we go. I am Peacemaker. Red Shirt Day. I'm putting a team together. We are Shark.
Dun 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 dun.
I can do anything better than you. Get drunk montage. I love you. Now die. Bird burn. Time to unite the cast before COVID is over.
Because COVID is over.
Interesting. Rush the castle. Peacemaker is a heel. That's me. The doctor explodes. Not the bus driver.
Milton.
Milton. No. It works. Patrick is angry. Mutiny Squad. The rats always win. Yeah. So I can't really picture his voice, like how he did things. So
I mean, it's just how John Cena talks.
yeah.
really.
How does he talk? He talks kind of just
Like an
normal.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah. He talks.
Yeah.
Just talks.
You could have been more proud about it.
I could be
but-
more proud.
Yes.
Bird burn.
Bird.
Bird.
I think your best one by far is Red Shirts Day. That's a good one. The opening, obviously, and goodbye.
Great opening.
Goodbye,
anyone shocked by
Boomerang.
that?
Finally,
Like poor Rooker.
was it shocked?
Was anyone shocked by the opening? Like, just like all those characters?
No,
dying?
because I got it ruined for me, unfortunately. So before we saw the movie, there was a couple of videos floating around on Twitter, and how you say her?
Margot Robbie.
Robbie?
Robbie.
She basically there was a clip of her saying that the script was so brutal in the beginning that anybody could go. And she was like, you better not be killing me. And then that clip was out. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not
That's
cool.
the-
Yeah.
But it's
So-
funny because, like, Pete Davidson, for example, was like an actor they really, like, at least a lot of press was like, Pete Davidson is in the Suicide Squad.
I was so happy when
You
he
know?
died.
Why? He's a
I
nice guy.
Yeah, he's
He's
I'm
the
sure.
spokesman of Smart Water now.
Wow.
What was everyone's favorite death in the opening? Mine
Oh.
was Weasel drowning, even though he didn't actually.
Mine
die.
was Boomerang because, or is
Jai
it
Courtney.
Captain Boomerang?
Captain Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, because there was a whole joke in the first one where he disappears and then comes back.
Yeah.
And then in this one, he finally is kaput.
I think my favorite one's gotta be Nathan Fillion's, only because his
TDK?
power was ridiculous. Yeah, like his arms came off, and then they're like just slapping soldiers, and then obviously how he dies is like brutal. Like they shoot the arms, and he's just like ah.
The screaming and like
It was
of all these,
brutal.
it was very brutal. Like
I was-
whoa.
I was surprised by the beginning because I was like, man, they got Rooker in this. I'm like, he's gonna be a thing.
He's the
They, like,
protagonist in the
built-
they
everything really
is
built it up, and I'm like, oh no, they just gonna kill
Savant.
everyone.
So his character Savant is the POV character for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The movie starts off with him as the protagonist.
Yeah.
And then he,
But I feel like the first
exciting.
Suicide Squad did something similar, where
Oh,
they
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 might. I
they,
can't
they made somebody like the point of the POV or whatever.
Well,
But they wanted it. But again, it was to have the head explode to like really showcase.
They introduced everybody except that character.
That's
and
right.
then
That's
they
right.
Killed him.
They killed him
only.
off. And the first Suicide Squad movie, one of the biggest criticisms was the first 40 minutes
Yeah.
is all set up. Like it takes it's like not till the 45th minute until they're actually on the mission. This one, within the first 5 minutes,
The first
they're in
10 minutes
mission.
of that setup.
Yeah,
Like the whole
it's
opening
super
is,
quick,
like, just set up,
and then
yeah.
you're in. Right.
The
Like-
first one is about what Rick's
Rick
Flag. Yeah, Rick Flag's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, and Enchantress and they
Her
made a deal with
brother.
her, and they have her heart, and the target that they're getting out. The twist is like it's Amanda Waller who's at like in the middle of the Enchantress.
Oh, and the Flash is in it
Yeah,
for a second.
with Captain Boomerang. Yeah,
I don't remember.
Well, I wonder if Flash will miss him. Probably not. Do you think they were okay with like murdering and killing all these characters off because Flashpoint, the new DCEU movie could potentially reset a couple of these things
Nah.
if they go that? I mean,
I really get the impression that these were supposed to be like just fun. I don't think any character they killed they're particularly
The
interested in developing further.
the only one
could be wrong.
maybe. The only one that probably people were surprised by was Captain Boomerang because he has appeared in movies before.
I was surprised by Rick Flag. I didn't think they were going to kill him.
Well, he wasn't killed in the beginning,
yeah.
and
No, but
Yeah.
him still dying, I was
Yeah.
still surprised
well,
by that.
I think it was nice to have like a death with stakes because that was
Yeah.
definitely the big one that they didn't undo in this movie.
What about Polka Dot?
Polka Dot Man? You kind of knew was gonna die. Like
Yeah.
that felt like a character who was just gonna.
I mean, I think he says
Never
it, right?
make it.
Like one of his first lines when they're in the briefing is like,
He
I
wants
want
to
to
kill me.
die. Yeah.
He
Or
wanted
like,
to
please
die.
kill me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Probably.
So-
but
I mean, the way he dies is brutal. I mean, he gets crushed by Starro. But Rick Flags was like, you kind of knew with that battle that somewhat one of them was gonna die, and
So I also
It
thought
sucks,
obviously
but-
like the after credit scene for this because it's a comic book movie, there has
Sure.
to be one. The after credit scene or the second after credit scene where the agents, Amanda Waller's like agents or whatever at the hospital, and they're like, we found this person. I honestly thought it was gonna be
Flag.
Flag because I hadn't read all the stuff before that had said because James Gunn's obviously doing a series for HBO Max with John
Peacemaker.
Cena as
a TV
Peacemaker.
series.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they shot that recently, that
That'll be
after credit
interesting.
scene.
And the two characters that are there, which is, two of the support staff,
Yep.
are part of the show. So it was set up. What's interesting about it was Gunn originally pitched the show as a prequel, something that explored how he became Peacemaker and what makes him tick and stuff. And then he decided to make it a sequel series, and then it takes place after. But there still will be some of those flashbacks that explain kind of his origin. But
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I'm actually like not that excited for the show, and I feel like I'm in the minority for this, but I thought his character was fun in the movie, but like up until like I just don't really care where he goes from here. Like to me, I guess where he would go from here was like, wouldn't he want revenge on Bloodsport for trying to kill him? Which maybe Idris Elba is in the show. That'd be cool. I guess that
Yeah.
would be fun.
I mean, no,
But
Idris
there are
Elba
no
only
reports.
does the only types of series he
Oh,
does
no.
are one to
Turn Up Charlie.
Turn Up Charlie, where he plays a DJ, still chasing that dream. Good for him. And then if he's a crooked cop in London, those are the only types of shows that he does. That's it.
Or
Nothing else.
Or a drug kingpin.
Or a drug kingpin in The
Wire.
Wire. Yeah. His
Luther
most
is
famous
not a
TV.
crooked cop.
He's a crooked-
He's honest and straight. He's the only honest man. in
He
London.
because of his
Whoa.
his like him being a shitty person, he causes all that crap to all those other people in Luther.
It's the opposite. His
No.
honor is
His
so
honor
strong
is
that
what-
it causes pain to everybody around him. And destroys
I haven't
his
seen
I
this,
think
so I
you
can't
I
wait.
think you saw a different Luther.
I want to watch Luther. It's on my list. But
But let's
shows.
also talk about like the big one, right? Obviously, Idris Elba coming in as
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Some would argue is this the replacement of Deadshot? Deadshot obviously,
Yes.
it leaves or runs away or whatever at the end of the first Suicide Squad, goes off with their kid. There are a lot of similarities between Deadshot and Bloodsport. Both are really good with firearms. Both have troubles with family. Both
are
are criminals.
ex-military?
Both are ex-military.
Practically the
Which
same
one do you prefer?
God,
Bloodsport.
it's not even close.
Deadshot, right?
No.
It's Bloodsport by
Bloodsport
far.
by far. Yeah.
By far.
No,
You know
offense
who
to
I
no
thought-
offense to Will Smith.
Full offense
but
to Will
Idris
Smith.
Elba is just a far more compelling actor. I don't think I'm really saying
not a
it.
stretch.
I don't think I'm saying anything earth-shattering.
The problem
with
with
that.
Will Smith is
Yeah.
Will Smith is he's Will Smith and everything. Like
Yeah.
he plays Will Smith.
Yeah.
That's not true. He
You know?
does a really good job in like certain movies where like I think drama is his like that's where he really can turn on the acting.
Yeah.
I think these action movies like Suicide Squad, it is where it's like
He's Will Smith.
he's Will Smith because he just is he's there to collect a paycheck and that's
Well,
A-okay.
he knows how, like he's like it's like the 80s action stars, right?
Yeah.
They were, even though there were different characters in different movies, they were always like,
The same
oh, you're
character.
Sylvester Stallone, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger in this situation where you take on an army, or you're teach kindergarten and are a cop, or you have to get the toy, right? You know.
Speaking of Sylvester
Yeah,
Stallone,
maybe.
It's
Speak-
not a tumor.
speaking of Sylvester Stallone, obviously he's playing a new character, King Shark.
Oh, nice transition.
In the Suicide Squad. I do want to point this out to the point of, Sylvester Stallone, big 80s action star,
Yeah.
still making things like Rambo. Good for him. But he also did the voice of King Shark. And there's one scene that I want to paint a picture for you all,
my
right?
God.
So there's one part where, towards the end of the movie, where King Shark goes to the top of the bunker building, Jotunheim, and he sees these weird-looking creatures,
Piranha jellyfish.
type things, and he refers to them as friends, and he's happy, and he's running around going, "Oh!" And I just want to point this out. Sylvester Stallone was in a sound booth
Or his home.
or his home, probably his home because it's COVID, and he was making those sounds, going "Oh," and like friends and like all like.
Yeah.
So please just sit there for a moment. Sit there for a moment. Just imagine this '80s badass action star. He's motherfucking Rambo. You
need to go back.
he
and
has
rewatch
he's
Rocky
been
1.
Judge Dredd. He's Rocky like.
Yeah, no, go back and watch Rocky 1.
Yeah.
Where he plays like a goofball for much of that movie. Like
Yeah, but I'm just saying the majority of things he does is this badass.
yeah.
Like
he's got it.
he
in
was
him,
Judge Dredd, right? Before the new Judge Dredd, and like it's a very funny thing to like
bad,
imagine.
yeah.
And I really do hope somebody puts. I hope there is some kind of video
like,
of this.
footage.
Yes.
If he did it at home, I'm sure his like wife or daughter got it.
Somebody's got to have
Got
something.
some footage because that
Yeah.
would be pretty funny.
Good old King Shark.
Besides that, Amanda Waller.
Oh, great. She's great.
Who thought she was actually going to die in this one or be arrested?
No?
Well, I think one of the more I think that's actually one of the more interesting things between her version in this and her version in 2016, because it feels like we always talk about superheroes and depowering superheroes, right? Bucky and Falcon and Winter Soldier gets his ass handed to him in the show. In Winter Soldier, he's a badass.
Yeah.
She's kind of like depowered in this in terms of just like her influence and stuff. Because in the 2016 movie, she's like got direct lines to the government and the president. She only works with the military, etc. This one, it's like very much more. She's like the boss of like an office, like it.
She's the Michael Scott of the military right now.
She kind of is, right? It almost feels like she's
playing golf at one fucking point.
yeah,
I'd
you
love
know,
to see
and
a miniseries on like
and it's
an
like
office.
she's
That
in some
office.
ways she's like more brutal in this version, but less brutal as well. Like there's a mutiny obviously at the end. They knock her out, and she doesn't. It doesn't seemingly look like she arrests any of them or has them put away. The worst that she does is reassign some of them to look at Peacemaker versus like the 2016 movie.
She flat out kills her staff.
She murders her whole staff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was one of the interesting differences, because this movie has been described as like not a true sequel, not like a true reboot, but kind of like a spiritual successor that has.
I think
some of
it's
the
been
same
explained as
characters.
it's a thing.
It's a thing, right?
It's a thing.
Like obviously, like Boomerang and Flag and Harley Quinn, they all know each other, but they never directly reference it. There's obviously a lot of like differences with some of the characterizations and the tonal stuff. So I thought that was like an interesting way to handle the character. But yeah, like I still liked it. I liked what they did. It was just interesting that they made that change.
I would say
Of her,
that
like,
if you compare Amanda Waller 2016 Suicide Squad to 2021 The Suicide Squad, I prefer the 2016 one
Interesting.
over this one. 'Cause to your point, she just does not seem as threatening, and the fact that a staff member of hers was able to just bash her in the head.
It didn't seemingly not really have any repercussions.
Yeah.
At least that we were shown. Now, maybe that staffer got fired or put into like a dungeon or something.
But still, that's not as bad as what she did in the first one.
She straight up murdered military personnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just finding it's a picture
for freedom.
of a dungeon.
For freedom, because she was the only one that could come with the squad at that point.
For plot.
Yeah, plot device.
Plot.
And I guess the other big character who the differences was, but this one maybe more positive, was Rick Flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's pretty boring in the 2016
Well,
version.
the whole 2016 movie was boring, right?
Yeah.
So.
He's just this military guy. He's like very military man.
So it's Joel
Joel Kinnaman.
Kinnaman. He because
He's Swedish.
I didn't just, but For All Mankind, the Apple TV Plus show, I watched that maybe 2 months ago.
Right?
He's the lead in that. He's also in Altered Carbon. He's in a bunch of stuff,
Yep.
bunch of action-driven stuff.
He's a Swedish actor.
He's a Swedish actor. The thing with Joel is, again, I think he's been maybe typecast, maybe, they're just putting him in similar roles where he plays like a very similar character.
Sure.
Even
Straight
like his
edge
mannerisms,
military guy.
they seem very, very similar. Where especially like where he's holding the gun, he puts the gun down and like he's doing like this like eye up thing and like this crazy like it's in everything he does.
Yeah.
And you saw that all over the place here.
He was funny though.
Yeah, he was great. He was definitely funny.
He had some good lines, and I think that's why his death was kind of like was sad. 'Cause
Yeah.
you liked the character,
Yep.
and you're like, wow, this character has been reclaimed. They've done something cool with him, and then it's like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, it did.
They even showed his heart get stabbed and stuff.
Yeah, that was weird.
Mortal Kombat style.
But it was weird. I feel like they did that though to tell you the audience like this
definitely
character
dead.
is dead.
His last
he's
line,
dead.
His
Dead,
last
dead.
line is great though. He calls he's like Peacemaker.
What a joke.
What a joke.
Oh yeah, like very like I got like Watchmen vibes from that that whole standoff with Rick Flag and Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Similar
it's
to-
like look, for the government.
Yep.
Just the different philosophical viewpoints, like
Right.
morality versus nationalism, I guess.
What's interesting was like he wasn't. I think Kinnaman was like the third or fourth choice for Rick Flag.
Wow.
The first choice, who was cast but then had to drop out for The Revenant, was Tom Hardy.
Oh wow.
For the 2016 version. Then Ayer
That's right.
pitched it to Jake Gyllenhaal
Oh god.
to be in it because I think he directed him in End of Watch.
Okay.
Um,
yeah.
So he pitched it to Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal read the script and quickly said, "No, thank you."
Wow. I wonder why.
Jake Gyllenhaal would have been not. It would have been weird.
Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah, I just don't think that would have fit.
And Rick
Yeah.
Flag would have had a much bigger part.
He
You
did
know.
so when it was Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
I think the first version of that script was he was the main character. He was the protagonist.
Gotcha.
And then it quickly switched
To Will Smith.
away from
That I know we're a little slightly off the rails.
sure.
That does sound like a more interesting movie, having your main character be a person surrounded by these like superpowered killers.
Yeah.
Like having Rick Flag be your central character,
Yep.
who's got to keep these psychos in line, and that be kind of the story instead of whatever we got.
Well, what we got
Instead.
was he was supposed to do that, but he
Yeah.
was bringing these psychos to go save his girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah, I'm glad they like
movie's weird.
retconned that, or at least
Yeah, they
did
didn't
not
bring it.
reference
They didn't
that
bring it at all. Yeah,
in
which was
this
great.
movie.
Yeah.
So let's get into favorite and least favorite parts here. So
Ooh.
we'll go around the room and list your favorite and then your least favorite, or your least favorite then your favorite,
Okay.
or your least favorite,
Wow.
or your favorite least favorite. That confusing?
No, makes sense.
Yes.
Christian, what's your stuff?
I'm gonna say my favorite part is just everything between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. So their whole competition from their very first interaction all the way up until the last, I absolutely loved it. I don't think that was for me. There was not a single misstep in there. Like how they ramped up, like how they were competing when they were killing all the freedom fighters. How they were just like trying to one up each other the whole time. And then both John Cena and Idris Elba, I thought, played off of each other super well. I would love to see them in more things together.
They both exist in the Fast and Furious universe.
That's right.
Because John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother, and
So
Idris
weird.
Elba was Black Superman in Hobbs and Shaw.
That's
literally
right.
calls
Wait,
himself Black.
But doesn't
I'm
he
Black
die at the end of
Superman.
Hobbs and Shaw?
well,
Spoiler
he
alert?
dies, but like, who really dies in that?
Yeah,
franchise?
no one. That
Everyone
that was-
lives multiple times.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert for. Does anyone care about F9 here? If I spoil
Yeah, I
it?
do.
No.
I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
So
I don't.
I've only seen the first one. And I still need to watch the next 8 to catch up, so I can watch 9. And I will.
I've only watched 1, and then I watched 9, and I feel like I'm caught up.
You never
Yeah,
watched
but-
The Greatest
So
Tokyo
I've heard-
Drift?
I've heard Fast and Furious 5 is like a top
Fast
2
5.
action movie of all time. So I want to watch the whole thing just to watch 5, and
5,
then
6, and 7. Are
or I heard where it's like incredible.
Is 9 in space?
I can
but
neither
10 will
confirm nor
be.
deny that.
Oh my god. Yeah. Say nothing.
Oh, I thought it was in the trailer I saw, but anyway, yeah.
Maybe.
All right, and your least favorite part then?
Oh man.
Bird.
Come back to me because I'm not
Okay.
sure if I have one, but
Okay.
that seems like a cop out. So
My favorite part is rat.
that's also your one word impression.
I know I'm a very simple person.
Oh, I love it.
No, not just because of Sebastian the Rat, but also like Ratcatcher 2 being, the emotion, the center emotional piece. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man.
No, I like that her whole story. I thought what was weird with like this movie, at face value, it's this goofy action thing, but like the conversation that Ratcatcher has with Bloodsport and like their troubles with family and everything, that was actually kind of like touching and moving, and I thought that was a surprise, which was nice. And then also the fact that her drugged out father was
Taika Waititi.
yeah, that was just a nice like
that was great.
that was funny, because he's a great director, but he's also a really good actor. I think so.
fantastic.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of his cameos are like voice acting, and he's like an animated character. So I think people knew about his cameo, but didn't know exactly what it was.
gonna be, yeah.
So I think people assumed he would be some animated character, or maybe the voice of Weasel or something like that. So I think it was always a nice play on expectations that he was kind of this like small but important character that drove one of your main characters, and it wasn't like a humorous cameo. It was like one with depth and seriousness to it.
And then my least favorite part, I'm gonna have to copy Christian. Come
I've
back
got
to
one.
me.
I've got,
Okay, go back to me.
I've got my least favorite part. My
Yep.
least favorite part, I think, is the fact that we didn't have Peacemaker or Rick Flag in the final battle. I would have liked to have one of them in there, just because I think it would have added just one more dimension to that battle. The fact that neither of them were there, I just felt like it was still great. I still love the ending. I love that battle still. It just would have been one more like tactical element. And if it was Peacemaker, it would have been one more, character thing between Peacemaker and Bloodsport, to be like, what should we do tactically to take this thing down? That could have been a cool argument back and forth there. And Rick Flag, having him who has worked with Bloodsport before, that could have been they could have worked off of each other, tactically, which might have been kind of fun to see.
That's why his death is tragic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was tragic for me.
At least they didn't kill Sebastian. That would have been truly tragic.
That would have been very.
Ravi
I would have left the
rioted.
theater.
I bet James
He would've-
Gunn would have gotten a lot of hate mail if they
Yeah, oh,
killed
yeah.
off that rat.
Yeah. Actually, I figured out my least favorite part. They underutilized Milton.
Oh, Milton!
Wow.
They could have done way more with Milton, the sandal-wearing
The
military guy.
The
whole
point
of it was
conversation-
not to overutilize
The whole
him.
convo with like,
Who's
why,
Milton?
why did he? Why he was still with us? Why?
And then Harley Quinn to
Bloodsport
Bloodsport.
calling him
yeah.
Milton.
Hey,
Yeah,
Milton.
we talked about it.
I'll
You're
be your
Milton.
friend, Milton. My name's not Milton.
I hope all the cons, whenever they're back in person again, get flooded with Milton cosplays.
Oh God, yes, definitely.
That's the guy.
That should.
Not Bloodsport's armor is cool. I'm sure there's gonna be some really cool ones of that.
but I want
would
to
be
see
a
more
fun
Miltons.
one.
Milton. We should
Yeah.
all go as Milton.
I remember, and I said this afterward as well. The slow motion shot as they're approaching
With Milton on the very end, yeah.
and I'm like, oh, they're putting this guy as part of the Suicide Squad, I guess, which I loved because I'm like, it's so random. I'm like, why not just have these randos appear? And then you see him like running in, like after he's like the last person into the building. I'm like, oh, they're really playing this up. He's part of the team, I guess.
Good old
And then
Milton.
the fact that
He wanted to help.
I thought Milton was still at the truck. like, why is he even here? It was so good.
Juna, your favorite and your least favorite?
I think my favorite part has to be a lot of the King Shark scenes. Like even the first one where he's about to eat Ratcatcher and he's like, num num. And then there's a really touching scene with Ratcatcher where he's like, I don't have friends, and he's like, we're friends, and he's like, friend.
Oh man,
friend. That's nice. And even at the end of the battle where he's like looking at all the dead bodies and he's like, num num
num num
num num. Like,
yeah.
Also, the fact that he's just so powerful, he drops from the top of Jotunheim. Should be dead from that. Has all these piranha things sticking out of him. Should be dead from that. Gets an army to shoot 2 rounds into him.
Yep.
Still alive.
Yeah.
Truly a badass. Just in terms of like his power. His power level is over 9,000, as they say in Dragon Ball
But
Z.
nicely offset by his intellect.
He's
I would say his innocence.
No,
Yeah.
that's an even better way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
His intellect and his innocence.
I would also the aquarium scene that we talked about. I would take like a documentary or just one of those like 10-hour loops of him just like running around an aquarium, discovering different types of fish, waving at them.
But you should do
that
it.
Would
We
be
should
great.
put it out under Was It Good? That'll get 7 million views. Put us on the map. All you have to do is do it.
Yeah, all that will happen is copyright, take down notices. No big.
You just have to change the song or something.
Yeah, baby shark.
Yeah. More copyrighted.
Oh
No, if a Christian sings it,
just get it from the DJ Shark chant from the NFL. The stadium, whatever.
Jamie Tot do
Or that one.
your least favorite part?
I'm gonna say walking back Peacemaker's death at the after credit scene.
But they needed it for the series.
Yeah, but then don't make the series.
Well, they had to.
Or just keep it as a prequel.
They didn't have to.
like
James
they
Gunn
originally thought.
pitched it, and he was also the director of this movie. So he decided to kill him and then walk back that death.
Well, he wasn't technically dead.
Yeah, but I mean,
Obviously.
they still, it still seemed the way it was presented, the way that the scene was presented was he was shot in the neck, falls down, eyes wide open, blood spilling everywhere. Seems pretty definitive.
Yeah, but they didn't do what they did with Rick, where they go inside the body and show the
right.
heart stopping.
Sure, they didn't show that from any of the character deaths.
So then they all could come back. Boom.
I don't think
Weasel
Pete
came back.
Davidson.
Weasel came back.
Weasel
Polka
came
Dot
back.
Man could come back. He could fall into another dimension.
Polka Dot Man. Or maybe the polka dots. Maybe the polka dots came out of his body and created a shield.
There you go.
around him.
Yeah.
And 10 hours later, he's gonna wake up and be like,
Yeah, but for me, I again, like kind of as I said earlier, I just don't know. For me as an audience member, I'll probably check out the series because like this is what we watch. This is the stuff we watch. This is the stuff we talk about on the podcast. But I wouldn't say I'm like overly excited for the show or like was hammering for like, I need a Peacemaker spinoff. Like there's at least 5 other characters I'd much rather see more of over him. I thought he like worked really well in the scope of this movie, but that's about it. Like there's just not much more I'd want.
yeah, I'd be worried because, like you said, he works so well with the rest of the cast. So having his own solo thing, I'd be hesitant. But that being said, it's James Gunn. I'm sure it's going to be
There's a plan
super
somewhere,
fun.
I'm
and
sure.
yeah, it's.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll become Superman.
Oh, by the way, I gotta say it. We have to mention it at least once. Another favorite part is Polka Dot seeing his mom.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
It was just so funny, and
The
I was looking
starfish.
forward to like every time that they used it. I was like, oh, this is, and it was just hilarious. It was just like this, his mom just.
His Karen-looking mom.
His Karen-looking mom just doing.
They literally. I
doing
wonder
those
what the
things.
casting call was for the mom.
Oh
like,
man,
look
I've
like
seen her before. She's definitely been in a few things. Like I've seen her in stuff.
So before we ask that big question, guys, let's hear bold predictions. And it doesn't have to be strictly about the Suicide Squad. It can be about DCEU in general. James Gunn. Oh my God. James Gunn in the DCEU.
Good thing we're not live right now.
But yeah, so what's your bold predictions there?
I would like. Well, obviously, I have a bold prediction that James Gunn is going to come out with a series around Peacemaker.
Not that he's talking talking to Warner Brothers to do more DCEU movies.
He should.
Well, let's talk about that.
should.
Let's
That is
talk
happening.
about that real quick. this movie, like, let's look at the financials real quick.
Gunverse.
This movie, for all intents and purposes, in terms of box office
Yeah,
numbers,
that's a good point.
over the weekend, I believe it came in around, was it 16? It was under 20 million worldwide.
But that's understandable when you
think
can
it
see the
was
movie
under
with an
20
HBO Max
domestically.
subscription.
20 domestically?
And then I think it was like 70 worldwide.
Yeah. So, but that makes sense,
Not
right?
great.
That makes sense.
It's probably going to lose money.
Makes sense.
Especially that the way COVID has been going with theaters and more people are now reluctant to go out.
And the fact that it was available on HBO Max
For sure. Yeah.
for free with a subscription. Obviously.
Also, this past weekend, COVID cases have essentially doubled in all major cities.
Right.
So
But I think Warner Brothers had to have known when they did the HBO Max deal, they had to measure success differently this entire year for their entire slate. Like they couldn't be like, yeah, if Suicide Squad doesn't make $500 million in the box office, it's a failure. You know, clearly it's not a failure. Like it's being well received critically. I think it's got like a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, second highest rated DCEU movie ever.
Oh wow.
what's the first one?
Wonder Woman is
Oh,
at
nice.
93, and then I think Shazam is at 90%
Oh wow.
for the top three.
That
What
feels
about the
high.
Snyder cut?
The Snyder Cut's like in the high 80s, I believe. I think
Oh.
it was like an 80 something.
I'm shocked.
So
Should be
Well, I think the
102.
problem though with the Snyder cut of Justice League is you still have
Bad memories.
yeah, exactly. You still have that distaste of the first one in your head. Like,
it's also
true,
like it's almost like this fever dream too. It's like, is it real?
yeah.
Is it not? I don't know. Like,
I don't know
maybe
what's
it
real.
is. Maybe it isn't. But it's not part of the DC
Right.
either. Like it's,
I will. I will say this: like DC EU and DC in general has put out some like very strong movies recently. I mean, some of them are obviously like retcons.
It's pronounced
like
DCU.
Snyder cut. And I know Joker technically isn't part of the DC EU, but like the DC at least movies they're different from each other. It's a varied universe. It's like whatever you're in the mood for.
Sure.
DC is starting to put out now movies where you're like, I'm in the mood for something really cinematically beautiful. Put on the Snyder Cut. I'm in the mood for something really funny. You can throw on Suicide Squad or Shazam. You know.
Yeah.
And slowly, very slowly, and almost painfully slowly, we're getting a lot of like really good. A nice a nice library.
Well, I will say that one character we haven't talked a lot about was Harley Quinn. And she was a character, she's always been a popular character within the DCU.
Yeah.
She was probably the most popular thing to come out of the 2016 version. I think a lot of people liked her arc in this movie as well. And it's interesting because even some of like my friends that I've talked to were like, oh, I really liked Harley Quinn, and have now gone back, and last year Birds of Prey came out, which was the Harley Quinn movie. Not a lot of people really saw that movie. It kind of came out.
Kind of missed it. Yeah.
People missed it.
Well, yeah, because it was just a straight to HBO Max release.
No, it came out in theaters in February, but it was like a few weeks before COVID.
Gotcha.
And so but even like February is not a great release time for superhero movies in general. Didn't feel like there was just a lot of buzz around it. Good movie, like probably one of the stronger DCEU movies. One that I enjoyed, and it seems like people are like rediscovering now because I think a lot of people were like, "Whoa, how did she go from the Harley Quinn of 2016 to this Harley Quinn?" And that movie kind of
Bridges that.
that arc a little bit, and kind of gives her some more independence, and I think a stronger Harley Quinn too.
So real quick, back to your bold predictions here, because nobody's given one.
Oh,
any
my bold prediction.
Yeah, not your obvious prediction.
Rick Flag will die.
Oh my God, shut
Rick
the
Flag
fuck
will
up.
come back. Rick Flag will live.
Hey, I'll give a bold prediction. I
Yeah.
guess kicked off here. My bold prediction is going to be that James Gunn, Zack Snyder are currently in the process of removing the studio execs that have plagued us with shitty DC movies, and soon the Snyder Gunn universe will take over,
Snyder Gun.
and they will bring over Kevin Feige
What?
to head it all up, and then it will just be strictly Schneider and Gunn and directors that they pick that make all these new movies.
I'm going to take it one step further.
It's a coup. There's
I'm
a fucking
I'm
coup.
going to take it one step further with my bold prediction. James Gunn will be the Kevin Feige of the DCU. That is what Warner Brothers. I think Warner Brothers loves his vision,
And then
I think
Disney,
they
and then-
love
and
his
then-
style, and they want to make their It's not just a deal to do more movies. It's like
Run this
shepherd
thing.
our universe now.
And then Disney's going to turn around and sue James Gunn and be like, "No, you can't leave us, you bastard."
He said that he's done. I think with Guardians specifically, and I feel like
Yeah, it's too
probably
kiddie
the
for him.
Marvel thing in general. Like,
He's too happy. He's like, fuck this Groot thing.
Oh my
He did say that he was bored with superhero movies, though.
he did, but he is talking to Warner Brothers to do more
superhero
DC
movies.
superheroes.
Yeah.
So
Basically, he said he was bored because the money wasn't good
I was
on
gonna
Disney
say,
side.
I was gonna say anyone can change their mind for
Yeah.
a few more dollars.
Chris Evans.
Wait, how come nobody's making bold predictions that certain actors or actresses are going to turn around and sue Warner Brothers for this being simultaneously released on HBO Max?
That's a boring prediction. Who wants to waste their prediction on that?
Michael Rooker is going to turn around and sue Warner Brothers.
Oh man.
Michael Rooker's great. He's great in everything he does. I
Nice.
love Michael.
Oh, real quick, the new Batman movie that's coming out, is that DCEU or is that kind of like Joker? Where
No,
its own
it's
thing?
kind of
It's yes
Oh my god.
to everything you
It's
said.
confusing.
I think
as
you
hell.
nailed it when you said DCEU? Question mark? I think it
Yeah.
needs a question mark.
Yeah, because it's like, what is it anymore?
I don't think the filmmakers even know if it's like a connected universe anymore.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing though.
So-
I don't think it needs to be. Like,
No, it doesn't.
make a
It
movie. It can connect. It doesn't have to connect. I think we get stuck sometimes on what Marvel and Disney have done.
Correct.
And they're
DC doesn't
they don't
have
need
to do that.
the
don't
movies
need
will
the
be
same-
stronger.
they
as
don't-
well.
Yeah,
They'll be stronger
Joker is a
without
very
trying to
strong
connect
piece
it.
when you
Yeah.
don't sit there and you're like, okay, how does
Yeah.
this connect? Like
Because
when
you
you
just
sit
tell
there,
a story.
Yeah,
instead
exactly.
Of
I
worrying
mean,
about
even this
how it
movie, right?
fits.
Like, I think
Yeah.
if this had been a few years ago, we'd been like, how does this connect to the DCEU? We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about like how it really doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
Bloodsport is in the, he's there because he shot Superman. That's never been presented to happen in the DCEU with a kryptonite bullet, but like, who the fuck cares? It's still
Yeah.
a good movie.
You know, you already know exactly. You have the image in your brain. That's all you really need.
And it's like, doesn't matter. Who,
You know-
who
you know-
played Superman?
You know what? The
cares?
you,
Play Superman.
you know what the great thing is? All they have to do is just let the
Which
TikTok,
version?
fan theorists make their stuff, and then the writers can just go base it on that. And boom.
Well, Idris Elba has said that he would love to do a Bloodsport prequel where he actually shoots Superman.
That's just the opening scene, and then the movie's about something something totally else.
Nice.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any bold predictions, or should we move on?
Bold predictions. DCEU will overtake Disney as my favorite franchise.
I thought you were
In
like
the next-
financials. Like that's
in
not
the
possible.
in the next 2 years.
Whoa.
I thought you were going to say
I
2
think with the
days.
release of Batman, the DCEU will be like
One more
you know,
time?
DC Warner Brothers' vision for their comic book movies will is going to overtake my.
Christian, we know they don't have a vision.
It's not really
That's
a bold
the vision.
prediction. Is that? And that's working. They're nailing it.
Game
now.
plan, no game plan.
Exactly.
Now James Gunn is going to ruin that by being the Feige of DCEU.
Well, hopefully,
DCU?
hopefully he'll just turn that down and just
Yeah, he turns it down, and
go
he
horribly
decides to
wrong.
work with A24, and he makes a romantic sci-fi.
Real quick, would anyone want another Suicide Squad movie that's a direct sequel to this movie?
No, be done with this.
Um,
Make something different. Tired of like the heads exploding. I get it. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe not Suicide Squad, but I think we had this discussion, right? What was it called? Task Force X or something?
Well, so I thought Task
Or
Force
was it
X
you?
was something separate, but it's just another name for
It's
Suicide
just another name
Squad.
for the Suicide
Yeah.
Squad.
So
But
still,
I thought it was like the off the grid Suicide Squad, as in they weren't tracked by Amanda Waller.
there's a whole line where they are doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But then again, they typically fall into like mercenaries type stories.
Nice.
Which is those might be interesting, especially with
If
we
it's a different enough
we know
story.
that Deathstroke is running around doing something.
Joe Manganiello guy.
Joe Manganiello, he's in How You May How I Met Your
he's-
Mother?
He's Brad.
He's
Brad.
He's the shirtless lawyer.
He's Marshall's friend, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Real quick, so when James Gunn was approached by Warner Brothers to do a superhero movie, they said, "We want you to do Superman, but you can choose anything you want." He quickly said no to Superman, and he said, "I want to do a Suicide Squad movie. Can I do that? You guys just made one. It sucked. Can I still do it?" I don't think he said it sucked, but and they
No,
said,
he
"Yeah."
did.
They said, "Yeah, you can do it," and so that's how the Suicide Squad ended up happening. So I don't know if for this new deal they're going to give him kind of do whatever
reign.
you want again, and then he could
Absolutely.
be like, "I want to do Weasel." The movie.
You also have to remember, though, I mean, I don't know the inner workings of the deal with Discovery. Yeah, Discovery? Network and Warner Brothers. Remember that was that whole
yeah,
merger?
HBO, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
there's still probably some internal shuffling happening.
Totally.
It's very possible, just like with any big mergers, that in a year it could be like, we're shutting the whole thing down for some fucked up
Just
reason.
when they finally get some success. Done.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to take the DC property and turn them all into nature documentaries that will only air on Discovery. And it's basically like a film crew following like Batman around in Gotham.
Ooh.
But you like have that British guy narrating it, and the bat.
Well, that
He
sounds
jumps
fun.
down on the villain
I'd
and
watch it.
punches it in the
Oh
face.
no.
That sounds
Oh no.
highly
he has
intriguing.
accidentally killed this robber. He's now hiding the body.
What the fuck?
We need to go.
This is a very
I
different
fear.
Batman vision.
And here's the Joker. Oh, he's doing meth. We have to go. We have to go. Cut away.
Bird.
Okay, I think it's that time. Arjuna, kick us off.
Rafi was James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad. Good.
Yes, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad was great. Krishna, was The Suicide Squad the film that had things that happened good?
Yes, it was good. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I will watch it again. In fact, you know what's really weird? I just forgot. I could watch it right now if I wanted to because it's on HBO Max.
He just
Isn't
gets
that
up
awesome?
and walks out.
Yeah. Arjuna, was The Suicide Squad good?
Yes, it was good. Enjoyable, fun, humorous, violent,
Very
emotional.
violent.
Bird.
Yeah. Weasel.
I want my bird.
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 It was good. We didn't actually answer the question, though. Guardians or The Suicide Squad?
Oh, Suicide Squad.
Guardians.
The Suicide Squad.
So
It has to be Guardians, and the reason I say, like, The Suicide Squad...
Don't tell me it has to
I
be.
know. It's
Hey,
an
you can be whatever
For
the fuck
me,
I want.
Well, when I say it has to be, for
Okay,
me, it has to be Guardians because
Is that because you watched Guardians 20 times?
it was 8 in theater. But Guardians to me inspires a lot of Suicide Squad, right? Like Christian's one word was gun, and like his gunnisms were in.
I love it. I love it.
You know, a lot of the quirks and the humor come from Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like this movie doesn't get made this way without Guardians of the Galaxy, and I still think Guardians is a superior movie to the Suicide Squad.
I'm gonna say the Suicide Squad because it is a comic book movie, but there also feels like this kind of, I know this is gonna be weird to say, like a real element to it where there is stakes, there is death, there's
Government corruption.
government corruption.
Gunn described it as a war movie. He
Yeah.
made a war movie.
Yeah, and that makes it feel a little bit more grounded. While Guardians of the Galaxy is this
Takes place in space.
fantastical space adventure and a dance off. The dance off in Guardians of the Galaxy is the thing that always annoys me about that movie, just because it felt so It felt so weird. I don't know what accent this is.
It felt weird.
Felt. So Christian, how do you feel today?
Yeah, if I have to break the tie,
Drum roll, somebody.
Obviously though I'm played by recency bias and
Get
the
out.
fact that I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy so many times that it's inevitable. When you watch something
Diluted.
that many times, it's like it's
Thanos.
gonna lose.
I don't know. The
some of
Prestige
its
gets
appeal.
better and better every time I watch.
Then you
I
can't
don't
answer
know
this until you've seen the Suicide Squad as many times as you've seen Guardians.
But I have to answer the question now because it was asked. So I'm gonna say Suicide Squad. But with the caveat,
Fuck outta here. I quit
with the
this pod.
caveat that I realize that
You're wrong. Got it.
the caveats exist because of the
Are
aforementioned.
you trying to say caviar?
No, the
caveat.
caveats.
Caveat.
Has it, real quick,
Bats.
before we do our closing here, has everyone had caviar? Is it any good?
I've never had caviar
It's
before.
overrated.
Wait, you guys have had it?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't had it. I've never had it.
It's like it's fine.
Is it like sardines?
no.
Is it like mackerel?
No.
Tilapia?
You have
I'm just
to
going to start
you
listing
just have
fish.
to try it. It's not fish per se.
And with that, we're going to get the hell out of here. Thank you, as always, for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM. Our next pod is going to be live on YouTube, youtube.com/wasitgood, and it's going to be on the season 1 finale of Bad Batch, and also the What If season premiere, which is a new Marvel Disney Plus show.
When is that live stream, sir?
Friday.
Yeah,
I
don't think
You never
said
said
you didn't say
Friday.
Oh, this Friday. It'll be Friday. Friday. Yeah, I thought he did too.
I
Yeah,
heard Friday.
I didn't hear
You
Friday.
just said next podcast will be on.
Yeah.
Well, you should all be on our same page here. Anyway, thank you and goodbye. All right, we live still?
Birds.